Hello, how you doing? Justin here. Welcome to stage 5. And in this first lesson of stage 5, we're going to be checking out 3 new chords, and they're going to be A7, D7 and E7. You'll be pleased to know they're a little easier than the previous 7th chords we learnt, but hopefully your fingers are nice and limber and ready to get some new sounds in your ears. So let's go to a close-up and check out these new chords. Okay, here's the first chord we're checking out today, and this is A7. Now, this is a pretty straightforward chord. If you're used to playing a regular A chord, then A7 is as simple as lifting off your first finger and you got A7. Making sure, of course, that you don't play the thicker string because that's got the little cross to it. And we go through and check out the notes. The difficulty here is always getting the open string, so making sure that this second finger is exactly positioned between the A string and the G string, or the 5th string and the 3rd string, depending on what lingo you like. So that sometimes that G string can be a little bit difficult to get that from that second finger, so just, again, it's about using those fingertips. Same with that 3rd finger, nice, sharply done. Now there is a little variation that you can also play for this A7. If you've been playing your A chord like this with a first finger bar and you're digging that method, you might probably find that doing that, if you've got big fingers, is pretty difficult to get your A7. So another common one is to use our little A mini bar chord and then putting down the 3rd finger on the thinner string there, on the 3rd fret of the thinner string. So regular A mini bar, adding 3rd finger on the thinner string. This is kind of your classic kind of blues one. If you're doing kind of Robert Johnson styly stuff or Clapton or something, you'd probably tend to play A7 like this. Very hip little chord, that one. Okay, the next chord we're going to check out is this one. This is D7. Lovely sounding little chord. I kind of think of it like it's a backwards D. Like these two notes are the same. There's your regular D, and the note on this string is just moved back 2 frets. We got a D7. If you look at a picture of it, it kind of looks like a mirror of a D. That's how I remember D7, or how I used to. And so we're just starting 1st finger, 1st fret, 2nd string, 2nd finger, 2nd fret, 3rd string, and 3rd finger down on the 2nd fret of the thinner string, 1st string. Pretty straightforward. The difficulty here again is making sure that this finger is nice and pointed and not muting the 2nd string. So that's the string you want to check the most, is the B string, 2nd string. Remembering, of course, that we're not playing the thickest 2 strings. And the last chord that we're going to look at in this little segment is E7. Now there's a regular E. If we lift off the 3rd finger, we've got E7. Again, really nice sounding little chord. The difficulty again is getting this finger pointy enough to hear that D string closely. That's the 4th string there I'm checking. That's the hardest one to get. The rest of it, if you can do E, you should find pretty straightforward. Just might have a little bit of fun with that. If you have too much fun with it, i.e. it's too difficult, start with your regular E and just simply add your little finger down here in the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and you've got another really, really cool way of playing E7. So there's a bunch more new dominant sounding chords for you to play, dominant meaning 7 chords. So the big name for all of these sort of chords is a dominant 7th chord, like an A dominant 7th, but it just gets shortened to A7. So just in case you hear people calling them dominant chords and you're not sure what they mean. So dominant 7 and 7 by itself are exactly the same thing, but they do have a different sound to major 7, as you probably remember from our F major 7 chord. It doesn't have a very bluesy sound, where all these 7th chords, dominant 7th chords, they sound bluesy. They've got that kind of real earthy blues sound to dominant 7th chords. Very good ones for your ears. You should definitely be doing your ear training, your Justin ear training stuff, to make sure that you can recognize the sound of those dominant chords. Very useful. So those 3 chords we're going to use to make a blues in the common chord sequences. So make sure you go and check that out. But we've got a few other little tricks to teach you this lesson first. So stay tuned and I'll see you for another little lesson very soon. I hope you enjoy those new chords to check out. They're all quite bluesy sounding, pretty cool, I reckon. It doesn't really matter which version of the different chords, so I showed you 2 different ways of playing the A7 and 2 different ways of playing the E7. You can use whichever one you like. It's really a matter of taste, listening to the sound of it and going, yeah, I want this sound in this song, or I want that sound. Really, the quality of the chord, if it says A7 in the sheet music, you can play A7 whatever way you like, and it's still going to sound cool. It's just a preference as to which sound you want to hear. So it's very important as well that you get this sound of the A7 chords in your ear, not the A7, all of the 7th chords in your ear. Now, you'll often hear these 7th chords referred to as dominant 7ths. So when you see A7, it really means a dominant 7th, but we just assume dominant when we write A7. So if you see A7 or A dominant 7, then that's exactly the same thing. Now, it's really important that you get used to the sound of this as well. The dominant 7th chords have a real kind of bluesy sound to them. They've got a lot of pull, there's quite a lot of dissonance in the sound of the chords, and that's very different to the sound of major 7th. So if you go back and listen to your F major 7, you'll hear that it's got a different kind of, I can just do it for you now actually. If you listen to this, it's kind of quite a happy sound. Whereas the dominant 7th chords, quite sharp. It's got a real, it's got that a lot of pull in it and a lot of that kind of dissonance going on. So make sure that you do a little bit of ear training, that Justin ear training stuff or whatever that helps you sort out the sounds of the different chords. It's very important, especially when you're transcribing and working out songs for yourself, that you can hear the sound of the chord and go, oh yeah, that's a dominant 7th chord, or that's a major 7, or that's a minor 9 chord, or whatever. So as we're learning each of these new chords, you should be trying to get the sound of those chords firmly in your ear. Okay, now we're going to have a little bit of a look at a very, very little, very easy bit of music theory. See you in a sec.